Hey everyone, this is Donna from Clever Crafting. Thanks for joining me again today. This is a really quick and easy card and it's really quite effective. So we're starting with a piece of card that's actually 27 centimeters by 10.5 centimeters, and then that little piece of pattern paper is 8.5 centimeters by 10 centimeters. So to get the card base, I actually used an A4 and cut it in half long ways, and I can get 2 cards out of it then. So then I just have got to trim the little bit off at the end to make it 27 centimeters long. So we make it 27 centimeters because we want to be able to fold it into 3. So 27 of course is divisible by 9, so I'm just going to score it at 9 centimeters from one end on my score buddy here. This is the small one, which I love, and then I'm just going to turn it around and do 9 centimeters from the other end as well. So just to let you know that when I fold it, I actually fold it where I've scored on the indent side, not where it's pressed out. I just find that it is less likely to fray. You know, sometimes your cardstock frays, and it doesn't really fray when it's this way anyway. Well, I've never found it to fray. This particular cardstock is a 350 GSM. I'll put a link for that below, that I get. I buy it and cut it all myself for all my cards. So you can see that when you fold that, because they're all exactly 9 centimeters, it doesn't fit really well, but that's okay because we are actually going to cut this diagonally. So that where I've just pointed there is actually going to be the bottom of the card. So we need to make sure that when we cut it diagonally, this is the first flap, we're going to cut it from the upper left to the lower right. We just put that, so for the upper left on the fold line where the fold mark is, you'll be able to see it, to the lower right, and that makes a nice diagonal flap there that we can actually use to stand the card up. You'll see that at the end. So now the other flap, we're going to do the same thing, but instead of starting at the fold line, it's going to start at the non-folded edge, and we are going once again from left to right. And we're just going to line that up on the edge of our cutter and then just cut it. So you could do this with a pair of scissors, you could do it with a knife and a ruler, and it's made a nice trapezoid there. Thanks Catherine for reminding us all what that's called the other day in class. And you can see that the joint is perfect, it's beautiful, works every single time. Okay, so now we are just going to put away our scraps. We'll be able to use those. They're big enough to use for other things. So this is my 8.5 centimeter, which is 8.5 centimeters across and 10 centimeter tall. And I am just going to cut this one diagonally as well. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but this one's easy because I'm lining up 2 corners and just slap it through. So I already mentioned that we did this in our class, our online classes on Friday. So if you go over to our Facebook group, I'll put a link below, you'll be able to go on and see, you know, some other examples of this design card. So it's always good to see a few others, and you may want to join our Facebook group and share your projects as well. So I am now just going to put some glue on the back of this diagonal piece. That's the one that goes at the top, and then there's the one that goes at the bottom. I'm just making sure I've got them the right way around. I'm not really sure why I tried that, because it's going to work whichever way you put it, because there's only one way that will fit. But you know, you got to just double check. Mum always said, measure twice, cut once. All right, so now I am just popping that on my card front and making sure that I have got that nice little white edge. So it's just a nice fine edge, a couple of mil. It's really nice. I really like it that way. So I'm going to do the same with the other piece of pattern paper. Of course, putting on way too much glue. I mean, you really don't need the amount of glue I put on. I don't know what I think is going to happen. It's going to go through a hurricane and come off or something. Who knows? Honestly. But there you go, put it on, stick it on, and of course you can use double-sided tape or tape runner or whatever you've got to glue your piece on there. All right, sealing up my glue, make sure it doesn't get clogged. Now what I'm going to do is just put my little embellishment on the front. So what I have been doing is, while I've been sitting in front of the telly, I have been making some nice embellishments, and I really want to use it. This is so this is just a selection of some of the ones that I've made. And this is the one that I've chosen. It goes nicely with the paper, and that little flower that's on top was in an embellishment pack from a kit that we had a few months ago. So I just, you know, shaped the flower up a little bit, a couple of bits of bling on a rosette, and Bob's your uncle. We've got a nice little embellishment there. So I'm just deciding where I'm going to put it. Am I going to put it up high and then put my greeting down low, or will I put my embellishment down low and then my greeting up high? Anyway, I end up putting it up high, and I'm just going to now use the Smart Art glue again, and I'm putting it on the fold lines of my rosette. And this will be plenty to keep it stuck on your card. It's great. Just make sure that you only put it on the section that you're going to glue to the front piece, because you don't want to glue it to both pieces. Otherwise, no one's going to be able to open the card. And that's really not the look that we're going for. We want to be able to open it, write our message in, and then our recipient can read it. So there was a little bit there that the glue was over the top, and so I just turned it over and wiped it off with my finger so it doesn't stick it closed. Now I'm going to grab the greeting. Now I already I stamped out the greeting before I did this card, and I just used this Celebrate Today Happy Birthday greeting set, which also comes with dies that I use for so many different things. It's fantastic. So I'm actually going to do a video just on this set pretty soon so you can see what it's capable of. And I just ran that through my die cutting machine. It's a little hexagon shape, and I also cut a little scrap of the pink that I made, or the purpley color that I made my rosette out of as well. So I know it looks like I'm wasting it right in the middle there, but I'm not. You'll see what I'm going to do with that in a minute. You know, the cutout of the purple. Anyway, that looks like it's going to fit. Beautiful. I possibly should have measured that or checked that out before I went ahead and cut it. Now, I didn't crop any of this bit because I just wanted you to see that I made a blue with putting it on the back. You know, like when I stamped it the first time, I mucked it up. So I just flipped my paper over and I stamped it, well, my cardstock over, and stamped it again. And this is just some double-sided foam tape. This is not really thick, which I love because I can just have a nice little bit of dimension without it being over the top. So I've just stuck that on the back. And I get that from Bunnings, actually. Love it. It's really good, a really big roll. So I'll try and put a link for that down below as well. So I decided that before I stick this on, I'd really like to have a little bit of a edge on it, a little bit of ink, because it was just a bit stark, you know, that white. So I had a look at my finger dauber tray that you can see there, and I picked out that blue. That is actually a Distress Oxide tumbled glass ink, and I didn't bother about, you know, adding any extra ink to it. All I did was just use the ink that was on the dauber and just put it around the edge, just to make it so it wasn't quite so stark. And then I'm just going to stick it on that little octagon, the other piece. Octagonal? Pentagon? No? Hexagon. It's a hexagon. Oh my goodness. I don't know my shapes. Okay, so let's, I'm just straightening all of that up. Anyone that knows me knows that everything's just got to be so. And then I think that's a little bit of glue or something that was sticking out. So I had to get rid of that as well. Might have been a little bit of sticky something. You have to make sure it's just perfect. I'm now just going to do exactly the same as what we did with the other one. I'm just going to pop some glue on one part of it that, you know, I just sort of made a note of where it had to be when I was holding it into place on the card, just checking it out. And tons of glue again. It's lucky that I sell this stuff, because honestly, I'd go broke with the amount of glue that I'm putting on. Anyhow, let's just check the back. That was pretty good, actually. There wasn't too much overhang, which was great. So I just wanted to show you with this piece, because it did cut right in the middle, and I did that because I had an offcut from the checkered piece, and I was able to just pop that, you know, I thought they fit good together, so I'll make a little card out of that. So here's our finished card. So thank you once again for spending this time with me today. I really hoped you learned something. Of course, that is totally the purpose of these things, for you to learn something and that you can try out yourself. As always, I do appreciate you liking this video, giving me a thumbs up, and I would just love you to become a subscriber. So until next time, stay safe and happy crafting.